going on, everyone? Going to do a Bitcoin altcoin review. I think I need to share my screen. Forgot about that. So here we are. Sorry I didn't do a video for a couple days. I have a pretty busy schedule, so I'll do one when I can, but trying to get to a regular basis point. So what I plan on doing and what I want to keep on a consistent basis is go over the percent change, and some of these without any volume I'll probably skip over. Maybe take a brief look. Then I want to make sure that I get the ones that have volume that are rising into the percent gainers. And I think the one I wanted to come and touch down into is XRP and STR. I mean, it's got a little bit of volume, but some of these don't have any volume at all, and they're just low floaters, which are good. But a lot of times, no volume means you'll be stuck until you get volume. You need volume to get price movement, so stick to the ones that have good volume, and you should be all right. Let's take a look at Bitcoin to start off with. In reference to gold, gold's down, Bitcoin's down, the dollar's down, silver's down. If you're interested, I have another channel for precious metals prices on YouTube that we go over the miners for gold and silver and overall markets. But got a nice reversal. Came down over the 34, came across, came in. I got the AB bottom, crossed over again, and now it's coming back into support. We hit the 1160 mark. That 1160 mark is pretty important because of previous breaks. This is the previous high we want to stay above, 1140. But the long-term chart of the previous high is right around 1160. So we need to get above that break. So right now we hit it twice, I think, now since the dip. Since the dip, we hit 1160 twice. So it's building. And on the intraday, see where we're at, see how we're going to move for the next few hours. Looks like we crossed over the 34, made a nice little reversal bar hammer, came into support, made a higher low. So now we got a little trend. We're gonna hold that support, or it's gonna fall over. Watch for previous high breaks. See if we can get over that 1160 this next try. I think it's gonna come in a little bit more. You can see on the daily, the spinning top, and it's probably gonna mosey on in as the averages come across. But so we made a high, came swooping down, made a low, made another peak high, made a lower high right here. That broke down and it just took off to the bottom, to the downside. We got a bearish flag here. So cross over the 34, bearish consolidation into resistance, got rejected. Now we have a left shoulder, right shoulder. Not much of a, or excuse me, left shoulder head, not much of a right shoulder, but we did get a break on that right shoulder, back into support, and then it looks like it wants to come back into support again. Hopefully this double top here at 1116 will hold. Got lots of levels of support on the way down. So far it's bounced off of this double top here. Hopefully we can get into support, gather our legs, make a nice little U, and cross over the 1160 mark. That's Bitcoin. So look for prices to come back into support, gather its legs, watch for the turn. It's going to be a short and sweet, hopefully, consolidation. The reason why I got these two windows open is I don't like the Polynex charts at all. Trading view seems to work. Making sure I got my screen saved, screen shared. Yeah, all right, making sure. I don't know about this live. I am live. By the way, let me see if I got any notices. Looks like I got one watcher. Let me know if there's a comment or something you want to track. Let me get through these top 5% gainers, move on to volume. XBC. Let's check her out. This is the one that went up like 3,000% the other day. And now it's on the bounce. Whenever they run up that heavy, let it rest, let it make a price pattern, and wait for that price pattern to break. Buy the breaks. Buy into support or buy the breaks. The resistance breaks on the top side. Let's take a look at the daily. Let's go long term then. Long term had a breakout, came all the way back into support. Now it's riding above support on a weekly. Let's change to a monthly, see if we can find some resistance lines. It's going to be pretty hard, isn't it? So here's our resistance on the way up. We break above that previous high. Use that as your support. Otherwise, there's no lines of resistance until we get all the way up to $1. So get above the previous highs, then we'll talk whether or not this is going to run again. Right now, we're in a range. Right now, it got rejected. Ran up, came back in, came in, popped out. Now it's back into the range. The range is the top and the bottom. So the range could come all the way back in. Let's change it to a daily. Right now, the daily looks like it's going to have a nice little pop. Came into support, nice inverted hammer here. It looks like an accumulation phase here. Double bottom, pop, stay above support. We have a downward trend line that it's trying to break. So it can come back into support still, gather its legs. Watch volume. Always watch volume on these altcoins. It seems to be the key. The key driver to any percent gainers is the volume. Let's look at shorter term. Shorter term, I got lower highs, which is the top. And then I'm looking for an opposing point. I'm looking for this to come back into support a little bit. I don't know if that's going to be the support line, but that's where my indicators are right now. And those are only indications of support and resistance. So I got to lower highs, watch it come into the pattern, price pinch. If support holds, watch it come in a little, like a little wound up corkscrew, and then pop. So I don't think it's ready yet. It's got the lower highs on the hourly chart. So that'd be a nice chart to keep track of for any kind of intraday pops. Jump to HUC. HUC ran yesterday, Hunter coin. Where are you? You can see the run yesterday. It's been coming back in all this time. It's got to hold support. I got lower highs. Always start to see where you're at on the chart. Always start with a weekly chart. You can see that pop. Breaking previous highs. We want to stay. That's your support. Stay above support. And I think that's, looks like 5.8 is the previous high. So this is the flat top break. Came into resistance, previous high. Came into resistance. Came back into support, lower highs. Had a flat top break. Bam. Watch the volume. Volume is key on these bad boys. And you can see the J curve coming into resistance, resistance, came over resistance, back in, flat top break, pop. That 34 is going to be our trend on the long-term charts. So it looks like it's bending up daily. Daily had a pop, daily had a pop, came back into support. Let's take care of these lines. So for the daily chart, it looks like it's opened and closing at the same price right now. So it had a push, but came back into support. Let's jump down to the hourly. Let's make sure that we're still bullish. So in other words, trade outside the chart. These are price patterns. I'm not sure if that's the low, but right now it's I'm saying that 34 is our support. Watch it come into support, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It runs up, makes a resistance line. Comes back in, makes a lower high. That's our trend. Before the breakdown, we had an upward trend here. That broke down. Now we have a different opposing point. We just changed our line. And I think it's going to come down. Watch the lower previous lows. Previous lows got to hold support. See if it'll hold right there at 5.5. It could come down into previous breaks. Always watch the run-ups and then the come downs. Let it pull down into previous support line, like a slingshot, pulling it back and then pop. It is coming off a bottom. It's just got to find support. Watch those price patterns. Trade inside the pattern, or don't trade inside the pattern. I guess you could if you're really good. You find the tops, buy into support, sell into resistance, buy into support, sell into resistance. The trading range down in this little area is too short for me just to trade. I would just hold it. Support. Find those support lines. Watch it turn. Let's take a look at Bella. Bella's been running up quite a bit. Let's start with that weekly chart. Actually, let's look for monthly chart. These things have been running up for 3 months now. Pretty nice. Looks like the flat top break was at 3. Bam, bam, bam. Made a high, made a low, made a high, made a low. Now it's on its highs. It's creeping. Let's see how we're doing on the intraday. Watch those flat top breaks. See if it'll keep running. It's up 40% today. Pretty nice. See the previous high here. Hold that as your support. Follow the 8 all the way up. 8's a very important indicator for me. That's our intermediate trend. Follow that 8 all the way up. If it crosses below the 8, momentum's dying. And I would sell profits. I wouldn't use the hourly chart for profit taking, though. I'd use something like the 15-minute chart or the 10-minute chart. Hold support. You can see the previous highs and the 8 coming in. That's your support. Watch for the reversal bars. Looks like it's making a little sideways action here. Right here, it has a little falling star action. So it could be a top. You never know. But the long term looks like it's closing near its highs. So nice boom at the last break at 7. Boom, boom, boom. So let's take a look at NXC, another percent gainer for right now. Sell into resistance. If this keeps going, find your resistance lines. I don't know if we have a reference on this. Doesn't look like we have a reference at all. So pretty hard pressed to find previous lows on Bella. So watch for the intraday tops. Looks like it wants to keep going. Volume's good. Up to 43% now. NXC, I think NXC got skipped just now. Let's look at VIA. Start with the long term. See where we're at on the chart. So now we have a reference for previous low selling points. I got resistance. Well, I had a flat top break recently. Came back into support already. You can see that. Those previous highs, previous lows right here. Previous lows, previous highs, nice balance point right there. It broke across and came back in. Broke across, came back into support. Now we're above previous highs. Stay above previous highs for support. That's your long term. Where do we sell? Take your little line, go to the next previous low. Take a piece off, take some profits off the table. Every previous low you get up to, got a previous low. So I got 1, 2, 1, 6, 1, 7, all the way into 2, and then 2, 3. After 2, 3, it's going to ride that range up. That next range is going to end at 4, 4. Let's see what Viacoin does from here. Nice bullish retracement, consolidation phase, over resistance into support. That's a bullish retracement. I mention bullish retracements all the time. Over resistance into support. Gathering its legs. It's a consolidation phase, bullish consolidation phase. Let's see if it'll keep running. Take your profits off the table at each point, each previous low. You're not going to win unless you take your profits off. It's not yours until it's profit. Looks like Strat just snuck its head in there. Let's look at that bad boy. Let's look at the long term first. Boom, boom, boom. Had a previous high break here at 2. I'm using previous highs as support. So now I got support in and around 3. It's all the way at 4. It looks a little overextended. Let's see where we're at. Looks like a creeper. Look at previous high breaks. 4.3, 4.4. Looks like it's got some legs. All it needs is volume. Look at the volume on this last half here. Follow the volume. The previous highs at 3.7. Hold that support line, this previous high. And then if that doesn't hold, use that previous high. If that wants to come all the way back in, previous breaks all the way down to 2.7. So strat looks pretty healthy. Unless unless look for the previous high breaks. 4.3, 4.4. Watch it on it. See what happened on the daily. Nice. Nice strat. Stratus. Looks like it's going to the stratosphere. Nice volume all through here. Nice, nice, nice. No reference to previous lows. Looks like the high is at 11. Take out that high, you might get a measured move that's worthwhile. From the top to the bottom. A nice little measured move, I think. So, bits. Real quick on bits. Is it BTS or BITS? There it is. There's the daily chart. So we had a run, came into support, made a lower high. Came into support, made a double top. Came into support, now we're trying to gather our legs one more time. Make sure that support holds, or else it's going to come back some more. I got a previous high, previous low balance point right there. Previous high, previous low. Hold that support. Look for previous high breaks above previous high over here. Just stair step on up. If it breaks previous highs, use it as your support. Otherwise, watch support break down. It could come back down into support down here. Previous breaks. It's at resistance now, but it's on its highs now too. So see if it'll break. Needs to get above resistance. Let's look longer term, see where we're at. Nice boom, came into support. Now it's going to run again. Take the previous highs, use those as your support. The long terms, looks like it almost came all the way into previous breaks. Nice volume, watch the volume. These things are key on volume. One more previous break. Where did Ripple go? There it is. Fell down in the charts. Fell down in the charts. Where'd you go? Oh my God. XRP. Let's just look at Ripple because everyone's talking about it. So long-term chart broke out, coming into support. That's a bullish retracement back into support. Hold previous highs. Looks like it came back into previous highs for support. Watch previous breaks. Use the next previous high as your support. Previous high breaks. Take a ride. Right now, since it ran so hard, it's got to make a price pattern. So let's see if we can find a price pattern on the intraday. Right now I got higher lows. I got a flat top break coming. The flat top break is coinciding with lows and the previous highs. There we go. That's still not perfect. Oh my God, come on. There we go. So you can use that balance point. You got an even steeper balance point if you want to go this route. Now we got a channel. But intermediate moves, you want to watch that flat top break. Right over the next previous highs. So we have an ascending triangle, flat top break, flat top, boom. Coming off of lower highs, higher lows. Get above previous highs, see if it'll run again. But it'll only run into next previous lows. So what's your potential? I got previous lows. If it breaks the first previous lows, flat top break, you got previous lows, previous lows, previous lows. So sell on the way up, buy into support. And I'm only saying that because it already ran and it needs to make a longer term price pattern. So right now I only have one opposing point. I got lower highs and the pattern's really, really steep. So I'm thinking the next previous low or the next lower high is going to come up into this area somewhere. I'm not sure where, but wherever it is, then we have an opposing point, and then we have higher lows and lower highs to make that pattern. So it's the beginning of the pattern. That's why I'm saying stay inside the pattern, trade outside the pattern. You can trade inside and out of this pattern. Buy into support, sell in resistance, buy into support, sell in resistance. I'm not sure where resistance is yet on that downward trend line yet, though. I need that first opposing point. Then we can work on it. All right, so let's just watch volume from here on out. Let's take a ride down the row here. XRP, we just did. High volume for today, that's pretty good. ETH, Ethereum usually has a high volume. So it's good that Ripple has got good, better volume than Ethereum. Let's look at the long term on Ethereum first. You can see the run up. You can see that pattern's forming. Support line is at 3.5. If it breaks 3.5, watch out below. It could come back into support. You got another support line with this look at the long candles. 50% of those candles is support as well. If you hold 50% of the candle, you can keep your momentum. But it falls below that candle, then it's liable to fall into the next range. So keep 50%, looks like 3. If it breaks 3.5, look for 3 support. If 3 doesn't hold, look for it to come all the way back into support from previous breaks. Nice turn. I got lower highs, rejection here. I got a nice little 3-bar pattern working, but I got resistance on the way up. So look for it to hit resistance, which is the previous high, into resistance. See if it gets rejected, or it does like a 1-2 punch over resistance. Could keep going, but I think it needs to rest and gather its legs. Find a price pattern on the longer term chart, and then make a move. But since it ran so hard, I'm thinking it's gonna stair step into support. Where that support is, you can draw your lines from previous lows or previous highs. I'm thinking likely to come down to 2.4, so hold on to your hats. Anything could happen. I do have a 3-bar reversal so far, but resistance on the way up. I got a flat top. I got a downward trend line. I have a descending triangle on the top here. So I think it broke down. It's going to come back into resistance and then come down into support. That's just my guesstimation. Let's look at the hourly. See if we can get a little punch. That looks healthy. I got the AB bottom, reversal here, into resistance, back into support, over resistance, back into support, pop, back into support, previous highs. Had a previous high break, but now it's back into support, and it's trying to get above previous highs. Use previous highs on the way up. I'm thinking it's going to pop into resistance. So where's the resistance? Where should you sell? Right below that 4.4. Good guesstimation. But the intraday little pop here across the 34 into support. Into support, watch previous high breaks, bam. But always keep in mind your long-term charts. Where is resistance? I got resistance. Previous highs over here on the weekly. I got resistance on the daily. Previous highs over here. Got a double top on the daily, plus the previous high over here, coinciding with the weekly previous high. It's got lots of resistance on the way up. Descending triangle, I'm thinking it broke down, came back, it's going to come into resistance, allowing it to come all the way back in to support. Don't know where that support is until I see a reversal on the actual price. Looks like LTC's got some volume. Little Litecoin. Litecoin. Nice. I got higher lows, previous high break, previous high break. That's the daily. Let's look at the monthly and see how hard this was dropped. Now we got a reversal. I got previous highs at in and around 10. I got previous lows. Looks like I broke into these previous lows. It's running into the next range, which is a previous low right there. Between 9, 10. If it breaks that, look for it to go into the next previous lows into 12. Nice pop from the bottom. Here's a previous low that we should take in mind here. This previous low is this previous high, which would be a flat top break above 10. If it breaks above 10, looks like we got lots of resistance in and around 10. Right on the button. Let's look at the intraday, see if we can get that pump into 10. See a little pop. Watch that flat top break across. 875. 875 is the mark. Sell into resistance. Buy the break. Either buy support or buy the break. Once it hits resistance, let it come back into support. Let it gather its legs. Pop again over that 10. Is going to be a nice break over that 10, it looks like. Litecoin. Dash. Anyone make a comment yet? Lucky Coins. Who the hell is that? All right, I'm glad you're here. Only one person watching. That's a 17th of my whole subscriber list. All right, good to see you, man. Dash, let's take a long-term chart view. See where we're at. Always make sure you know where you're at on the chart. before you start day trading. Day trading's for fools unless you know the long-term trend. Nice previous break. Everyone enjoyed this. Boom. Into 12. Resistance 12. Support at 2 or 3. Let's keep it a round number at 3. Looks like we're in the range. What we're looking for on the long-term chart is an opposing point. That range is from 2 to 12. That's 10 cents range. I'm looking for a pop in the 8-cent range. Into resistance. So let's find that resistance. Let's see if we can find it on the daily. Bam. See the resistance? Previous lows. Previous lows. Sell into resistance on the way up. Again, I'm looking for that opposing point. I got a lower high. I'm thinking I'm going to get another lower high. What we're looking for is we have a low. Let me take care of all these lines so make it clear. I have a trend line there, and I have a higher low, and I got lower highs. We're in the pattern. Take the low. I'm thinking that support line's not very significant yet. So we made a high, came into a low, made a lower high. Nice reversal bar there. That's a falling star. You can see how that falling star came all the way back in. We made a 3-bar reversal flat top break right now. We are at resistance. Let's see if that resistance holds, or not holds, but breaks, or it looks like for now it's being rejected. So look for it to come back into support, and I can't be for sure that this is the actual support line yet. All I have is 1 point of reference. So it made a high, came into a low, made a lower high, made a reversal bar on that same token, came all the way back in. Now we're at resistance. That 8 is our resistance, intermediate resistance on the way up. Let it pop that resistance, hit the next line, come back into support. So you got to ride the ball. You got to follow the bouncing ball. If it breaks here, goes into resistance, comes back into support, and we can start building from here. But looking at the long-term chart, this thing needs to settle in. It needs to find its legs. It needs to make a price pattern before it makes a longer move up. I got a low here. Let's use that there. 60-minute chart, you have a thin line of support there. Came into resistance, based, came across, came into support, flat top break, but came into resistance again. So I'm thinking this is going to ride into the next line of resistance. The lower highs are all the way at 10, so that'd be a nice run for anybody watching. I can't guarantee it's going to go to 10 though. What I wanted to do is make a price pattern. It's at resistance now. So it broke down, came into resistance, let it come back into support, gather its legs, pop into the downward trend line, breaking back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, until we get a price pinch, and then the corkscrew pops. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, tighter, 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 pop. It's got a long way to go. Let's see where their opposing point is. Let's let it come back into support. Let's find that resistance line again. Come back into support, get it tighter and tighter, 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 pop. It's not ready yet. But you could get a nice run from here into the next line of resistance, that lower high. Watch for volume. Dash, should I get any creepers? HUC, already looked at that. XMR. I think XMR ran a little bit yesterday. XMR. Where'd you be at? XMR. All right, let's look at the long-term first. See where we're at. We got a long-term chart. We got intermediate charts working inside of each other. I got a lower high. I got higher lows. We are in a price pattern on the long-term chart. So let it build. It's coming down into support now, previous highs. See what that 8 is? It's like magic. Come into previous highs. I'm looking for an opposing point here on this latest run. Into resistance, come back into support. Where's that support going to hold? Into the first previous highs, second previous highs? Not sure. Looking for a turn. Make a price pattern. Intermediate price pattern, and then we look at the long-term price pattern. So patterns within patterns. See if we can find some kind of indication that we're going to get a run up. Looks like XMR has got a little bit of volume. Only a 2% gainer today. So intermediate. I got a flat bottom there. I don't know if that's going to hold. You can see the lower high, double top here. Came into a double bottom, resistance there, got rejected, came back in. I got a double bottom. Is resistance going to be strong enough to push it down through that double bottom? Or is resistance going to break into the next line, into support, and then we'll get a nice one. What we do, so we have an intermediate lower term intraday price pattern, and then we have that longer term price pattern where we just have our opposing points. This is a weekly chart. It could take weeks inside this pattern. But watch those long-term pattern breaks. Those are, the longer the pattern break, the longer the time frame on the pattern breaks, the bigger the moves. You get an intraday pattern break into resistance, no problem. But watch those longer term pattern breaks. I don't know if it's going to stay in here forever. It could just go 1-2 punch, flat top break, bam, no problem. Watch the volume. ETC, let's take a look at that one real quick. I gotta cut this short here in a moment. ETC, ETC, ETC. Nice W bottom on the weekly, confirming that W bottom when it flat top broke. So where's resistance? What's it doing? I got previous lows right where price is now, 26. If it breaks into previous lows, it might ride up the range into 5. So that's the long-term view. Let's look at the 4-hour. It's kind of like a half-day chart here. Okay, so I had a price pattern, lower highs or higher lows that failed. So now I have a new opposing point. I'm still waiting. Actually, that was that exhaustion move. Maybe I should change my opposing points to this. So you can see that price pinch coming in. Is it going to break up or down? When the price comes into a pinch, it has to make a decision up or down. Right now, it looks like it's crossing over. Watch those whipsaws. It gets really volatile when price patterns break. So there you go. Keep above previous highs. Previous high break is at 2.4. Let's just call it 2.5. Anything above 2.5, take a ride. You got resistance on the way up. No, let's not call it 2.5. Let's call it exactly what it is, 2.4. 2.4 on up. You got resistance at 2.5, but you got a nice little price pattern in here. Really tight. You can see all the averages all squeezed together. Pop. That's what I'm looking for. Looking for those price pinch patterns coming to a close. support, in resistance, support, pop. Right now, I want to take the ride. If it busts across 2.4 into 2.5, and then it might come back into support, have a little topsy-turvy thing going on, and then pop. Ultimately, I'm probably looking for another opposing point for that previous high here. So let it come back into resistance, see if we can break resistance into the next range and make an opposing point. That looks like a good spot there. Previous highs, if it breaks into previous lows, it's going to ride the range. Looks about between 2.7 and 2.8 would be resistance. So it'd be a nice little ride if you can break this flat top into resistance and hit another opposing point because of this long trend. Looks like amp's creeping in. Let's take a look at that. Then I want to take a look at one more that I'm holding and looking forward to a pop. Let's look at the long term first. Let's take care of my crap. All right, so the weekly chart, I got resistance, previous lows, right where that 34 is on the upside, 12. Look for anything above 12. Next resistance line is previous lows at 15. Breaks 15, you got a double top to take care of at 2. And then the next line of resistance, 2.3, 2.8. Ultimately, 2.8 would be a nice break on the long-term chart. Right now, we got a nice little bottom. Came swinging into resistance, came back into supports building. Let's see if we can see a little pop on this bad boy. Let's look at the hourly. Looks like we hit a high, came back into support already. I got previous highs for support. Watch support levels hold. Look for bounces off of those. There, that's a nice chart. Look at the cross. Find those charts or the time frames where the price comes across the 34 back into support. I got a nice inverted hammer here. Take out that hammer on the upside. It'd be a nice little push above 9.4. AMP. It's at 8.8 right now. Look for a push above 9.495. Nice flat top break coming in. That's the launching pad I always talk about. The flat top break. Cross the 34 into support. Now it's building back into resistance. It may not pop all at once. Watch the head fakes. But it's consolidating over the 34, which is our trend. You can see the trend after it breaks, comes into support. You can see that the trend is bending up. Watch volume. You need volume on these things to break through the resistance. Take that flat top break and take a ride. Looks pretty good. I like that. I like that a lot. Might get a nice little pop out of that bad boy. So I'm anticipating a move. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know. So don't be mad at me if it doesn't work. Just because I'm loaded up on it and I'm a smart guy doesn't mean I'm always right. But I got previous high support at, on the daily chart, looks like above 12. Need to stay above 12. Long-term chart, you can see that resistance that popped through. Boom, inverted hammer over. Not exactly inverted hammer because I got the wick on the weekly chart, but it popped over the 34, came into support. Popped over the 34, came into support. So let's go down a little bit. You can see the higher lows. Came into support, previous highs a couple times already. Watch the flat top break. Looks like above 15. On the daily chart, looks like a break of 15 might just climb on up that that wick. So I have these previous highs for support, and then I have this previous high, which is just lingering above this previous high right here. That's my signal. I got to get to work. Oops. So let's see what's going on in the hourly. So we have a price pattern. We have a high. It ran up yesterday, came into support. It's been riding that support, made a double top, came back in below the 8. It's kind of dying out. Make sure we hold 12. Could come all the way back into support. But we almost had a breakout here. Not much volume to speak of. So it wasn't, basically what I'm saying is it wasn't ready. So this is a price pinch on the hourly chart that broke out, but didn't have enough guts to keep going, and it just came back through the pattern. Now we're below the pattern. So now we have to make a different kind of opposing points. Now we got opposing points that are wider. At this low and this low. Needs to hold support. So now we got a different pattern. Let's see if we can find something. Something significant to hold support. I got previous lows at 13.5, so it looks like we're being rejected at the 13.5 previous lows. Looks like 13's resistance on the way up. We need to get above resistance, hold support at previous lows, or previous highs over here. So this previous high on the 15-minute chart, we want to hold. So it broke out and it's moseying back into support. Right now it's holding. Not sure if it's going to be perfect. Make sure support lines hold. Go to the next previous highs. 12's got to hold. Look for resistance on the way up. 13, 13.5, 14. We're in a pattern. All right, that's it for me, guys. Do I have any questions? Sorry, I can't see everything. Nope. So there we go. That'd be it. Let me know if you need any help. Post your questions in the comments. I'll see you guys. Yeah, I gotta figure out how to turn this thing off. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, come on. There it is.